going to talk about the genus Altoca, and I'm going to focus in the three species to explain the process, the evolutionary process that was that the genus was happening in this way. I'm sorry for the bad English. The Altoca genus, the region of the Altoca genus is around 6 million years, and they began the Miocene and the Pliocene, and the diversification of the genus was going around the Pleistocene, but there are 8 species and 1 that are not described yet. These species are in Exoclan. The Altoca genus is distributed in 8 regions, biogeography regions in the center of Mexico, and the principal are Oaxaca, Basin, Chapala, Low Lerma, and Zacapu, Quetzeo, Pátzcuaro, Siromen, and Balsas. Altoca maculata, for example. I'm going to talk the first Altoca regalis is distributed in the Los Reyes, only in this part of Los Reyes. Altoca maculata only in the Magdalena and in the Ameca Basin. In this part, just Altoca gosling is distributed in the Potrero Grande and the Ameca Basin. The Altoca duquesi in the Little Lerma. Just and other people say that Altoca duquesi is distributed in along the system of Santiago Lerma, but the new registers is just in the middle Lerma, in Quetzal Lake and near to Zacapu Basin. Altoca zacapuensis just distributed in the Zacapu Basin, and Altoca diaci just in the Pátzcuaro Lake, and the Pátzcuaro Basin and tributary of the Pátzcuaro Lake, but actually just in the Chapultepec Spring. Altoca milky, the distribution is in Siromen Lake and above the spring, but the last years and maybe the last few years just we can found in the above the spring. The distribution of this genus is very short, very constrained, reduced, and this is because the history of the origin of the process of speciation is very difficult and very varied. The process starts with the origin of the center of Mexico, the split of the center of Mexico here, that and here, that separate the system Lerma, and at the same time the region of the Trans-Mexican volcanic belt in this zone. The formation of this chains of mountain chains cause the separation of the systems of the body water that and the populations of the each actual species. These species know upfront just this process. The climatic change, the desertification, the bottlenecks provoke make that the populations reduce it and the populations was different to the other population and they start the process of speciation. And I'm going to focus in these three species because it's very interesting the relation and the stretch close relationships that have these species. The region of these species maybe is less of 1 million, around the 50,000 years, but it's very difficult to explain this process. Alatoca diaceae is the distribution of the Alatoca diaceae is only in Pátzcuaro Lake, but in the last years just we found in the tributary of Pátzcuaro in Chapultepec. That is a small spring. Alatoca meki just we can found only in Popopeo spring, but in Sierra Leone Lake is extinct. Alatoca catarrhinae we can found just in the sub-basin of Tupatizio. There are 4 populations here. One in Santa Catarina Spring, another in El Sauco, and the other side of Santa Catarina. Other population is in the pond Copatizio here, but not in this part of the basin. And the other population is in the little river in this part that is the ecologic and urban park. Why these 3 species? Because the morphological and genetic information say that these 3 species are the same. This information say too that the habitats of the 3 species should be related. But this part that is the sub-basin Copatizio is older than the other water body. The region of this part is maybe in the Nicene, and this part is in the last million years. The origin of Pascuaro was when the volcano El Ciate and the volcano El Bosque was erupted, and split the Zacapu basin of Pascuaro Lake. The formation of the Sirawan Lake and the Popeo Spring was at the same time. This is the information that there are where the volcanoes La Casa, Cumprinos, and Distribo was activated and split the Pascuaro and Sirawan Lake. And at the same time, the Popeo Spring was separated of Lake of Sirawan. There are some hypotheses about this. Two hypotheses are very important. One explains that Cupatizio was joined with Pascuaro and the Lerma system in this direction, and at the same time with Sirawan Lake. And the other one talk about the system of Quetzal in the north, in this map, was joined with Pascuaro Lake and the system of Lerma. But in the first hypothesis, there is a congruence with the origin of this part, by the information geological and ecological. In the case of the other hypothesis, the information that they used for doing this hypothesis was the information, the ecological information and the orogenic information or geological information. In this work, we use molecular markers to probe to this hypothesis and make the reconstruction, the phylogenetic reconstruction and the phylogeographic reconstruction by the molecular approach and bioinformatics approach. This work try to explain the split of these three species, and maybe these three species have all the process that other species of the genus have to or has had to do during the evolution. We found that the three species have are extremely close, and this differentiation, genetic differentiation, is lower and lower than the specific limits, compared with the interspecific genetic distance in the Fungidae family. These two species have a genetic very low genetic diversity, with all losses used. The haplotypes are shared in the 3 case, and present a high rate of endogamy. The recent time, the time of divergence is very recent, around the 30,000 years. The process that happened in this period are related with the formation of the Sirwen and Opopeo and the Pátzcuaro Lake. Pátzcuaro Lake suffered desiccation, change of the level in this period, and Sirwen and Opopeo was split. Well, the tributary by the formation of these chains, mountain chains. And the historic effective population size of these species was very low, and that can explain the recent separation and the congruence of this process in this region. But no, there isn't congruence with this part too. What is the reason? Maybe an introduction of the Altococatarine in this basin, maybe recent connection and after recent separation, but it is difficult to explain that, or a process of hybrid. It is very difficult to explain, but there are more things that Allotoca genus has. There are very low number of individuals of the 3 species and the other species. The contamination of the body waters, the reductions and desiccation of the habitats, the introduction of the exotic species, and the climatic change. And in this case, the 3 species are having this process. The contamination of the Lake of Pátzcuaro is very high, and in Sirwen and Opopeo there are exotic species that kill the offspring of the Allotoca meki. In the case of the Allotoca catarine in Copatizio Basin, there are new genetic diversity, and this is the cause of the concentrate deleterious mutation, and conduces to a problem with equilibrium of the populations. And it's very difficult, but unique question that I have is what is the direction of the genus, and just I want to begin things to a particular biology laboratory of the Michigan University, and my advisor Mark Dominguez, and all the people of the working group, and the other groups, especially Scandinavia, Netherlands, American, German, French, Japanese, and British associations that support the laboratory. The chapters too, and the houses mayors that support my speech. And this is the web part of the laboratory if you want to check.
Stable shape? Is this fine?
Yeah, it's very difficult because the Allotoca genus is associated with the vegetation and slow water, and the Allophorus robustus is founded in the Pátzcuaro Lake and all the in a few number of individuals, but in all the lake is reduced the population of the Allophorus robustus, but Allotoca is maybe extinct.
You haven't found it recently? No?
No, in 2 years.
2 years? No? No Allotoca diaz. This Maculata still? I mean, Duesi still? Yeah? Not diaz.
No.
And what is the state of Opopeo?
Opopeo? One year ago, we found just 5 individuals, and in the stream, but not in the pond. And maybe the population is very, very.
Thank you.
You said that 90% of the haplotypes were shared among the 3 species?
Is with cytochrome B, all the haplotypes are shared, but
Were the 3 species recovered as monophyletic?
yeah,
They still were, even with that much sharing.
yeah, and with the microsatellites, maybe the 90% is shared, and the analysis of the structured population is very. We don't found a structure.
There's no structure.
No. Maybe displaying the recent separation of the three species.
Yeah, then in that case I would thank you wise. First for coming here and giving this speech. It was really an honor to have you here. And second to be in time so we can go on with the next speeches. You know how we want to do it, so
Yeah, I still have to load mine. I'm going to go first.